Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week I am doing a little bit of a day in the life vlog. I'm going to bring you along to everything that I'm doing today. We are still practically living as though we are in full lockdown, not really going out and doing very much, so it might be a little bit homebound, but I'm going to talk you through some of my meal prep stuff with a really cool new sponsor, which I'll be talking about in a second, and then bring you along to one of my training sessions later on today. It looks really sunny at the moment, but I just looked out the back of the house and like everything in our garden has fallen over. It's been blown over because it's so windy outside, and I wouldn't usually head on out for an interval session if it is really stormy because you tend not to get so much great training when it is kind of really very windy outside. But I'm gonna give it a go and hope for the best because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be absolutely pouring with rain tomorrow, and you know what? If you wait for there to be good weather in the UK to be able to get out for a run, you're just never gonna end up getting out. Just kind of gotta suck it up and get on out there. But first of all, I would like to introduce you to my sponsor for this week's vlog. I'll be talking about them loads over on Instagram, but for now, I'll just explain a little bit who they are. So I've got 2 packets of ZENB here. It is a type of pasta. They're made from yellow peas. They're actually the UK's first pasta to be made from yellow peas, which is very environmentally friendly because they use less water to grow than wheat. And if you ever did biology at school, you will know that they are also nitrogen fixers, which is brilliant for the soil and for the environment as well. They're also high in protein, which is very valuable, especially as a vegan, because it means that it's one of the easier ways of getting in lots of protein into your diet. So I'm going to be cooking with this later, and it's something that I've been incorporating into my diet recently. I'm a massive fan of pasta, and personally I think this tastes absolutely incredible. It's also naturally gluten-free, so if that is your thing, if you are gluten-free, then it's definitely kind of like an alternative to pasta that you could be using. But even if you're not gluten-free, it is absolutely delicious and has a kind of al dente texture, which is something I love when it comes to pasta dishes. I eat probably too much pasta, but I absolutely adore it, and I'm going to be showing you kind of one of my leftover meals I kind of cook when you feel like you have nothing in the fridge but you'd actually like to make a kind of full meal, where you feel like you have to go shopping but you just want to use up the last kind of stuff that you have in the fridge. That's the situation we're in at the moment, and I will be cooking that later and showing you how I make it. But first I'm going to head on down to breakfast and show you what I'm having. So I've just come downstairs to make my breakfast and a coffee as well. Just got a doorbell ring, and as you can see, a little piece of plant is hanging out the bottom. We have been redoing our garden. Anyone who follows me on Instagram will know this already, but if you don't already follow me on Instagram, come and follow me over on Food Fitness Flora, and if you're interested in home stuff, come and follow my home account at Back to Bristol. And we have been redoing our garden for the last 5 or 6 weeks. It has taken what feels like a considerable amount of time, but actually when you look at how much we've done since we actually got here, since we moved into this place, it is actually quite a lot. But recently we've only been doing the landscaping work, and I have been getting a little bit excited about the planting, and it is definitely not part of my day-to-day job, but it is definitely more exciting than my day-to-day job. So I'm going to show you what I have received here. I actually don't know what it is because I've ordered so much, so I'm just going to do a little unboxing because that feels like a YouTuber thing to do. We've got tomatoes, which I ordered for the hanging baskets out the front of our house. Yay! Have a quick looky. And there are 2 of them here as well. So just to explain, we have 2 little wrought iron, oh actually only 1, hooks out the front of our house, and we were going to have hanging baskets, but then actually the front of our house is south facing, so we've decided to put vegetables out there. Haven't actually done it yet, but the first things that we've ordered are these hanging baskets from Gardening Direct. They will be growing tomatoes, but like hanging down, so not quite as pretty as your everyday, like lots of different flowers, but a lot more useful, I guess, because it's so sunny and warm. When it's sunny and warm on the south side of the house, we will get lots of fruit, hopefully. That's the goal, at least. Just rehydrating them in the sink so that they perk up a little bit, because they look a little bit sad having travelled here from wherever they're from. Hopefully they will become beautiful training plants and provide lots and lots of yummy tomatoes. Just sat down for a morning's work. I'm going to be writing this morning, writing actually about how to garden in a more eco-friendly way. I feel like a lot of people kind of just fill their gardens with astroturf or lawn, and obviously in terms of biodiversity and what's best for wildlife, you kind of want a little bit more than that. So I'm going to try and write about it. To be honest, like half my blog posts are writing for me, really, so that I can do the research, but then I put it out to the general public as well, because then I get people asking me kind of the same questions quite a lot, so it means that I can actually answer people's questions in a more thorough way rather than just like trying to type on Instagram DMs. So I'm going to put this together and then I'm going to publish it, and if it's published by the time this vlog comes out, I will link it in the caption down below if you guys are interested. I know a lot of people are doing gardening at the moment, especially with, you know, some regulations still in place. I think last year was like the biggest year for gardening ever because so many people were obviously just stuck at home, so their kind of outdoor space was really the only safe outdoor space that people had. So we've massively got into it, and I will do a little bit of a garden tour later. It's very much in progress, but I'm hoping to get out at lunchtime and have a little bit of gardening time, because I just absolutely adore getting out, and it is good exercise as well. But for now, I'm going to start writing this blog post and hopefully get that out soon. Okay, I've nearly finished the blog post and I've just realised that it is lunchtime already. I've written over 1,500 words, which I now realise I'm going to have to cut down considerably because no one is going to read that amount. But I'm going to go make some lunch and then kind of come back to it later. I find that if I read it too much and just keep going over and over and over again, I miss out on some really important stuff because my brain's getting tired. So I'm going to go make some lunch and then I'm going to head out into the garden, take some pictures of the garden. I'm going to show you guys as well. I kind of wanted to write this blog post, not just about in general, but also about our garden in particular, so like what we've done specifically. And I find also, you know, taking videos and photos really rewarding later on when it feels like we've not done that much, and then you go back and look at the photos from a month ago or 2 months ago, whatever, and you realise, oh my god, actually, you know, quite a lot has happened since I made those records. So I'm gonna go and do that. But first of all, it is lunchtime and I am gonna be making a ZENB pasta dish, and I'm gonna make loads of it so that I can have some in the fridge as well for leftovers for when I am feeling too lazy to make anything exciting. Okay, so taking a look in my cupboards, don't actually feel like we have very much food. Taking a look in the fridge, it's quite empty. This is not ideal, so we're gonna see what we can make from nothing. Okay, so this is my slightly depauperate collection of food today, but to be honest, I love the challenge. I love making amazing recipes that have like all the most incredible ingredients, but to be honest, most of the time I don't have all the most incredible ingredients at home. So actually being able to make good food with just the stuff that I have lying around is such a good idea. And I'm using the ZENB penne pasta for this one. They've got 3 different types. So penne might be my favorite, but I will definitely be trying a mac and cheese with that one at some point. But for today, we're gonna have some sort of bolognese. Freezer food is a godsend if you don't have stuff around. This is freezer spinach. I've only got one left, so I will be replacing that at some point. An onion, might add a second one. Garlic, if it says 1 clove of garlic, am I the only person who adds like 4, or does everyone else do this as well? Because I feel like that just should be the rule, so just that you like quadruple whatever they say, because that stuff is so good. We had some future mince, veggie mince in the freezer, so I'll be using that as well. Some smoked cheddar, that stuff is good. And I will be adding capers because I love them, adds a nice little hit. And I tend to add a tiny dash of soy sauce to my mince as well, kind of adds that umami, meaty flavour that you don't always get with veggie mince. But I will show you how I cook this. It shouldn't take too long at all.
Probably someone else is a central
Okay, the pasta is just bubbling away and the mince is nearly done. It actually looks so good. I'm very, very excited to eat this. And the pasta takes around 10 to 13 minutes, depending on whether you like it kind of al dente or slightly softer. I prefer it quite al dente, so it's a super quick meal, this. Today I'm having a pre-run, but mostly I'd probably have this kind of thing in the evenings, post-run. It is a great source of all of the things that you need after a run, so actually, like, it's kind of ideal to have some in the fridge if you are extremely hungry when you come back from your runs, as I often am. But yeah, this is nearly done, so I'm gonna sit down and eat it. Doesn't look bad, does it? I'm gonna sit down and wolf that down now. Okay, so I promised I'd show you the garden progress, and that is exactly what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna see if I can find the footage of when we first moved in so that I can kind of show to compare what it looks like, because like I said before, sometimes it looks a total mess and you think, oh my god, what have I even done since we moved in December? And then you look back and then you realise. So fingers crossed, it's actually quite impressive. So when you come out the back door, there is a little patio here. It's extremely windy today, so hopefully you'll be able to hear everything that I'm saying. We created these planters here from leftover pallets that were just being thrown in the skip. Absolutely love them. They're growing bamboo in, or they were growing bamboo until the bamboo died, but we're hoping that it will grow back because that's what bamboo does. And look, we have a living one here. Promising scenes so far. And then we have herbs in the front and daffodils, 2 different types of thyme, basil. We have a hyacinth just like randomly in there at the moment because we haven't found somewhere to put it. We have some plants here that were dug up from my family's garden. They didn't want them anymore, so we've taken a berberis, a yew, a holly, mahonia, bluebells, and we've got some aces that we got in Morrison's. They were like super cheap and they are beautiful. We wanted a green one because we've already got a red one in the garden, but this one was only 15 quid, which for an acer is crazy cheap. So this is the area up here. It is still obviously a mess. Like, well, it's not a mess, it's just not that nice, but it's very functional and means that we can do a lot of like work with sanding and all that kind of stuff without worrying about things getting dirty or whatever, because it's not exactly a precious space. And we have a water butt as well, which is where we collect all the rainwater from the roof, and then that goes to water all our plants and all that kind of stuff. When you travel down the steps, the steps are all different heights, which is quite treacherous when you're going up them if you're not looking where you're going. You then also see piles of rocks. These are the rocks that we're using, natural stone quarried in Dorset, only about 45 minutes away, for our garden. This is about 2 tons here. We've used 2 tons and we got another 4 tons around the front, I think. So yeah, we've still got plenty to go. This is our mess space. This is currently a building site. We have paving slabs. We have this table here that was left. We're going to sand that down and retreat it, stain it, make it not purple, essentially. This area is great, actually. It used to be a children's like sandpit play area, and it had bark mulch on it that we've now bagged up and we're using around planting because it reduces the amount of water loss so that we don't have to water it as frequently. There was also sand, this, as you can see, sand that we have been using for mixing into mortar and concrete, and hardcore there as well, which we pilfered from a skip, and that has been used under a lot of our paving, which I'll go and show you in a minute. So this is kind of the worst of it. As you can see, we have a whole load of pallets that we hopefully will be making into things at some point. This is the worst of it. I mean, this looks horrendous. But good things will be happening with all of this, so let's continue down the garden. Now this slope, I think I complained last time, it is so dangerous. In the winter, it freezes over and becomes just like an ice slide. If it gets wet, it gets algae on it if you don't clean it regularly, and then the algae also becomes like extremely slippery. It just should be flat and stepped rather than sloped and stepped. So yeah, that's next on the list of things to do. Now comes the good stuff. So as you go down the garden, you will notice to the right and left there is a huge amount of piled up soil. This is where we have started terracing the garden into the different levels that it is going to finish at. And as we get to the bottom, you can start to see what we've already done. So this is what the path will look like. Very neat, very flat, just stepped. Here we go. This is the garden so far. Okay, so that is where all the soil is at the moment. That soil is going to be used on the different levels to even them out. Basically, we don't want to send anything to the skip because it is a waste. And instead, we're going to just basically restructure what used to be just a long sloped garden with lawn on it into distinct terraces that are actually usable because they're flat. At the bottom, we have this Indian sandstone paving with this natural, I think it's called forest marble stone as a dry stone wall, or a faux dry stone wall actually. It does have some mortar in it to keep its structural integrity. This we're going to put plug plants in it so that it becomes a kind of natural wildlife habitat. And then around the tree we've built what looks kind of like a massive planter. It basically is keeping the tree where it is, but obviously the tree has roots that go everywhere and we've made sure not to disturb those. These cool plants here are called cordyline. I really like them because they match the beautiful colour of the tree, which is quite fun. And then at the back we've got lots of different planting. We've got a rosemary that was being given away by someone on our street, a couple of lavenders, something called euonymus, a iberis I think, some more tiny lavender plug plants. I don't think you can even see them. Wait. There she is. They're small, but they're growing, so that's good. Some more euonymus and then some more lavender. All of these plants down here were left by the previous owners, so we dug them up and we will be replanting them, but we're hoping to be able to get a whole lot of native plants so that we're not just relying on, you know, well, these are all from various different parts of Asia, so they probably don't have very much function for the native wildlife down here. It was really windy last night, hence why everything is like a total mess. Those petals are from a lilac bush tree sort of situation. This one is called Hakonichola, I think, which is a grass that will grow really big and just basically cover up this whole space, but it's a bit of a slow burner, that one I think. Under the Acer tree, which is my favourite thing in the entire world, it's so beautiful. We have a fern garden, which obviously loads of native ferns. Can't remember what that one's called. That's called Heart's Tongue, just over there. We've got another one of those over there. This is very bare at the moment, but we've got the bark mulch down it. That'll be providing loads of nutrients for the tree, and we'll be putting in bluebells. We'll basically be creating a kind of little woodland scene under this tree because it has, as you can see, shade for the majority of the day, so that will not be good for sun-loving plants, although actually in general our garden is quite sunny despite being north facing because it's actually really long. But hopefully at some point that will all be greened up, beautiful bluebells come the spring. Next year that will look fab. This year it's just like bare earth. Likewise with essentially the rest of the garden. We're gonna have lots of big grasses here to kind of block off this section. Then we're gonna have lawn, and then there's gonna be a slope, a very steep slope up to the next terrace rather than having a wall again. And that steep slope is gonna be unmown lawn, wild grasses, that kind of stuff. Obviously great for nature, but the good thing about the lawn is that it can still be useful for kind of sitting on and usage by us as well as by the local blackbirds, the local robins, everything that eats all the worms and stuff. They prefer short grass, so we're going to have a mix of short and long grasses. And then this planting scheme is going to be echoed over here, so there's going to be a lawn again here. We might put an apple tree in it, just one of the smaller ones, because trees are always nice and because they have amazing blossom as well. And then up here we're just going to have lots of different planting, lots of native plants. It's kind of quite sunny, but in the winter this section is pretty shaded, so we're going to go for plants that are quite hard hardy and can kind of cope with all sorts of different stuff, all sorts of different conditions, from bright sunshine to waterlogged. But because of the terracing, this should no longer be as waterlogged as it was when we moved in. Basically the slope didn't drain properly at the end, so basically all of the soil was sodden, absolutely sodden, which made it really difficult to walk on or use or sit on or do anything with, and it even was difficult for the grass, which is saying something. This back white wall here we're going to render with the natural stone, so it kind of blends in, looks like it's actually built with that natural stone. Like, we would like to get rid of some of that paving because we definitely don't want all the garden to be paving, but it is useful space to have. And so instead of getting rid of it entirely, because obviously that would also be a huge amount of work, we're just going to render it with that, and then hopefully that will look a lot nicer. And then probably next year we're going to have a water feature here. I really have always wanted a pond, and the great thing about them as well is that you can add, you know, fish, amphibians, newts, sparrows going wild, and it's also very beneficial for insects and birds that come in to eat the insects, and obviously they can wash in there, and yeah, it's kind of a bird bath and drinking water hole as well. So that's what we're going to do there, and then more paving up here. So that is kind of the plan in a nutshell for the garden, but I am just absolutely obsessed with how good it looks compared to when we first moved in. I'm really quite impressed. I have obviously contributed quite a lot to it, but in terms of the actual skilled labour, that's all my boyfriend. I've been mixing mortar and concrete and footings and finding slabs and actually retreating these. When we first moved in, these were on their last legs, but we've just retreated them with a wood stain and water treatment, which makes them not only all the same colour, but also much more resistant to bad weather. So they should have a few more years in them yet. So that is it. I hope you like it. Still a huge amount of work to be done, but we've done a lot. We have done a huge amount since moving in, and hopefully the rest of it, other than the paving up there and the water feature, these terraces shouldn't take too long at all. This Excel spreadsheet was from my Flora sub 20 training plan. I'm just kind of gonna grab one of these because there's a nice long list of sessions that I did, and I've got records of how I found all of them as well, which is quite useful. So I can kind of compare where I am now to where I was on the 2nd of February. So I'm gonna give this one a go. 10 by 90 seconds at 5km pace. So that's about 4 minutes, well, exactly 4 minutes, with a 1 minute jog recovery. We will see how this goes because I haven't done a session in a while. Hey, so I did a 2K warm up before my interval sessions. It doesn't usually feel this hard, I have to say. I mean, it's really windy today, but I feel like I'm running like a sloth. Anyway, gonna give it a go because that's all I can do. Warm up done, about to get started. Enjoying the look of those clouds. Let's try and get it done before they arrive. 3 done, 7 to go. Just started drizzling. It's fine, it's refreshing. If you haven't already watched my vlog about how to run in the rain and you struggle, go check it out. I'll link it below. Halfway through, very stormy. Good to practice in these conditions though, because I can't predict what's happening on race day, you know? Let's get it done. 10 intervals done in a very wheezy Flora. Woo! First few felt good, and then the rest felt horrendous. No changes there. Anyway, just gonna jog back home to cool down. Since getting back from my run about an hour ago, I've just been sitting on the floor, not even on the chair, which is right behind me, answering emails because I didn't have the energy to actually like go and do things. I hope I'm not the only person who does this because while I'm out on my run, while I'm doing the cool down run, I think of all the things I have to do and like I make lists in my head, and you know, that's one of the great things about running is it kind of allows you to plan things and, you know, actually think about stuff. But then as soon as I get back, I'm like, I made myself a cup of tea, sat down, and I have literally just been replying to emails since then. But it is already 7 p.m. It's gone 7 p.m. and I think time to call it a day, and I'm gonna stop replying to emails, stop taking a look at my blog post because it ceased to make any sense to me, and actually start to make dinner, which is very exciting. I will be showing you what I'm eating. I literally don't think I have any food in the house, so it might be an interesting freezer meal or something like that, but yeah, excited to have some actual food. I did have a little snack when I got back. If I do heavy interval sessions, despite my delicious meal before the run, I tend to try and eat within 30 minutes of getting back, just to make sure that I'm getting enough nutrients. I had a Tribe protein bar. Never had this one before. It was delicious. White chocolate and raspberry. Tribe are the people who host the Run for Love, which I will be doing next May, and they supply an inordinate amount of protein and energy bars, so I've still got some left over from that, which is great, but I think that might have been my last one, which is really sad. Anyway, I'm gonna go and start making dinner and then show you what I'm eating once I have it. So I've given up on the idea of making something nice and fancy for dinner, nor do I really need to be honest. Like, I'm quite tired at the end of today, so I'm just gonna have one of these, which I'm trying out for the first time. They're nutritionally complete plant-based instant meal. Bit of a cop-out. Definitely not real cooking, but I did real cooking for lunch, so that's really what actually matters. But yeah, I will let you know how it is. Noodles are pretty good. I'm gonna go and collapse in front of the TV and watch Monkey Life and eat my noodles. That is it for this week's vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my cooking, my running, more than I did. I felt so tired after the run. I should feel really good at points during the runs, and then I feel really good once I'm back, and then like 10 minutes later, once the adrenaline has worn off, I'm just a mess on the floor. So I hope I'm not the only person like that, because it is sort of awful. If that is relatable to you, please do hit the thumbs up button and comment down below. And if you enjoyed any other part of this vlog, don't forget to subscribe. Plenty more running content coming your way, and two very exciting announcements on the channel very soon. I was gonna say them in this one, but we had too much other stuff going on. So do hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon so that you get a notification when I post a new vlog. And yeah, comment down below your best bits and what you think the announcement could be. That is it. Thanks so much for watching again, and I will see you next time. Bye!